Book 1, Chapter 2, Kindness. As I walk to school, it occurs to me that I have left my homework sitting on the kitchen table. What am I going to do? I can't go back. I will be late for class, and I can't be late. I feel my heart start to pound, for I know my teacher will not be happy that I do not have my books. Maybe Max will share with me. As I arrive to school on time, my heart unsettled, knowing I will be scolded. I see my friend Max, who also looks like he is in a panic. "Max," I call out, "can we share books today? I have forgotten mine." Max, with a stunned look, replies, "I was going to ask you. I forgot my books, and now we are both going to be in trouble." I could see the look of panic on his face, and I wondered, did I have that same look? Why is my heart pounding? For it is only books. I noticed the lonely boy sitting alone, looking outwards with no expression. He hasn't forgotten his books. He would look as fearful as I do. Where is his joy? There is no expression on his face. He isn't happy or sad or troubled. He is just there. I feel my pounding heart settle as I study his face. I feel peacefulness, and for a moment I forget about getting into trouble. For a moment my concern is one of another, a boy sitting alone with no expression. We enter the classroom. I go to my teacher and apologize for leaving my books on the table, for I had done the homework. He looks at me, at first with disappointment, and all at once I see his face soften. In a gentle tone he says, "It must be the day for forgetting books, for I have done the same." I feel my heart ease. I see his compassion for another, just like the way I was looking at the lonely boy. We are all the same. We all forget things. We all have good days and not so good days. In this moment, I understand that compassion towards another is one of the most important things I can do to have compassion towards myself. I am going to teach about compassion in my love class. I lie in bed watching the headlights reflect on the ceiling as the cars drive down the street. I watch the light enter the room and slowly exit the room. I am fascinated by how the light glows across the ceiling. I wonder who is in the car. Where are they going? Are they headed home? As I lie in bed, captivated with watching and waiting for the next car to drive by, I hear the voices of my parents. Their voices are getting louder. My mom seems angry. My attention has shifted from a place of watching light trickle into the room. Now I find myself concerned and worried about why my mom is upset. She is on the phone. Who would be calling this late at night? I wonder if my sister and brother can hear her. My sister is older, my brother is younger. I am your classic middle child. I like being in the middle. There is comfort knowing my sister looks out for me as I look out for my younger brother. My sister, being the oldest, likes taking care of me. Sometimes she can be bossy, but most times we have fun. My younger brother gets a lot of attention. He is rambunctious and creates a lot of noise. My mom is always looking after him. Sometimes I feel left out, but I do understand that he requires a lot of attention, and I don't. I've been asking my parents if I can get a dog. I think a dog would be more fun to be with than my little brother. I'm hoping to have a dog like my great-grandfather did, a German shepherd. I've seen pictures of my great-grandfather's dog, and I would want one just the same. My cat Billy might not like the dog, but I sure will. I told my mom that I would look after the dog. He could stay in my room, and she wouldn't need to do anything. She said she would think about it, but that was when I was in grade 3. Now I'm in grade 4, and still no puppy. Today we have to hand in and present our school projects. Max did his project on farm animals, and I decided to do mine on my great-grandfather who had the dog. Even though I never met my great-grandfather, they named me after him. Frederick is my middle name. My great-grandfather has explored the world with travels and adventures, and my dad is always sharing stories of his grandfather. For my great-grandfather was one of great character, kind, caring, compassionate, and because of these qualities he was greatly admired. I chose to talk about my great-grandfather because I wanted to see my classmates smile when I shared funny stories. The lonely boy, his project is about nature, and he talked about the sun and the moon and forests, animals, and the earth. The presentation is not very long, and it is the first time I can see peacefulness in his expression. He is really nervous and his words are jumbled, but there is something about the topic that makes him come alive. He almost smiles. At our school, we have a canteen for lunch, but I like to bring food from home. I notice the lonely, expressionless boy sitting alone without a lunch. Everyone is eating around him, and he is just sitting, staring into space, detached from the others. It is loud with voices and laughter, and yet he sits unengaged with his surroundings. This is my opportunity. I have a chance to speak with him, to tell him that I enjoyed his presentation and I could share my homemade cookies my mum made. I am nervous. I feel my steps are uneasy as I walk towards him, but I keep going. It's like a magnet. I'm not even sure why I am drawn toward him, but I am. As I approach him, he looks at me, his face blank, waiting for me to say something. I open my mouth and nothing comes out. He keeps staring at me, waiting patiently as I find what I am to say. I mumble, I really liked your presentation and wanted to share one of my mom's cookies. Maybe we could be friends? There is no movement in his body. It takes a while for him to respond. It's like he was in deep thought before I arrived and I had broken his concentration. His eyes gaze at mine and I feel his presence. It is peaceful and gentle, soft and caring, not what I was expecting. Our teacher doesn't address him often, for he seems to want to be left alone. The teacher probably just knows this. Perhaps he isn't lonely. Perhaps he just enjoys being alone. His eyes are soft with kindness. He asks me to sit beside him and I offer the cookie as I take my seat. It is awkward, but comforting. I feel good sitting beside him. I feel I could learn from him. I too am not interested in the noise that surrounds us. I say, I'm not even sure of your name, even though we are in the same class. I'm Finnan, but people call me Finn. What's your name? With a deep look, he opens his mouth and says, my given name is Charles. People call me Charlie, but I want to change my name to something more suiting, a name of greatness. Back in my seat in the classroom where I spend many hours, I look around and on this day I notice everyone seems unhappy or preoccupied. It is like we are all just sitting here not knowing why, not engaged but not withdrawn. We are just sitting, waiting. What are we waiting for? Recess? Lunch? A class that inspires us? Why can't the topics in school teach us about real life or how to interact with others? It appears that no one is interacting with each other. We're all just sitting, staring ahead, waiting for something to happen. I don't see people in the way that others see people. I'm not sure why, but it is like their hearts speak to me without the person being aware. I look at Max, who always appears to be popular. Good in sports, good grades, girls always talk with him, and yet I can hear his heart speak to me and it is whispering that there is heartache. I think people cover up what they feel deep in their heart. I'm not sure how many people live their life in truth. It feels like people are not honest with themselves. It's like everyone is acting in a play, all in character of what they think the script should be. I'm sitting quietly and I want to listen to my own heart. And I wonder, how do I listen to my heart? Is it a loud voice that will rise when it is time for me to listen? Is it a voice that is familiar? Is it a whisper? Can I only hear my heart when it is quiet? When I'm watching the car lights float by on my ceiling as I rest quietly in bed, I can hear my heart whisper. It is like a guidance that is directing me to be a good person, to do the right things, to make good choices. But most importantly, it's like a guidance to show me the greater things, like kindness, compassion, and being grateful. I think my heart shares to let me know how to treat others. Finnan, I hear a loud voice. It is not my heart speaking. It is the teacher who obviously noticed that I have not been listening. Again I hear, Finnan. As I focus on my teacher, I once again can hear a few chuckles. He asks me a question and I am unable to answer because I haven't heard a word he said. And he knows it. He looks angry, but I can sense his heart is not angry. Is he in a play? Is my teacher playing the role of strict teacher even though his heart wants to be a teacher that uses different methods? I think his heart wants to teach where all the students are happy, not just staring ahead.